TV Campfire Podcast.
I was like, okay, so you win for the week.
We're here.
I hate to sound like a broken record.
Oh no! We're fans.
It's one of the best things on television.
Oh! Alright, we got you a whole different level.
No, you didn't.
We talk TV.
That was the best scene ever. Like, that blew me away.
It was absolutely amazing. I just couldn't believe it.
Welcome to the show.
This is podcast number 602, and I'm Libya, your host. And this week we have returning guests.
Hey, it's Peter. Hello. I live in Hollywood, and I write for We Live Entertainment.
Hi, this is Allison, and I write reviews for 6 Degrees of Geek.
And this is Tom. I chair the Visual and Media Arts Department at Palm Beach Atlantic University in Florida, and I also host the Screen Time podcast on iTunes and Spotify podcasts.
Hi, this is Yusan, a costume designer and TV enthusiast from Los Angeles.
All right, Tom, can you start us off with the news?
Yes, I can. ABC picked up 911 for season 8 right before its 100th episode aired last week. Will Trent has been picked up for season 3. Apple TV Plus has greenlit a limited series adaptation of Araminta Hall's novel Imperfect Women, starring Kerry Washington and Elizabeth Moss, and it's from Physical creator Annie Weissman. Peter Dager from Insidious 5 will star opposite Owen Wilson in the untitled golf comedy series from writer Jason Keller. Brett Goldstein will guest in Shrinking Season 2, which makes sense since he's a co-creator, executive producer. And The Last Thing He Told Me has been picked up for season 2.
Wait. Did the last thing he told me ended? Like, that was over, right? And it said it was a limited series, and it ended. Like, what? Why?
Because they can. For more information, see Big Little Lies or 13 Reasons Why, or other limited series that kept going. CBS has renewed NCIS Sydney for season 2, Fire Country for season 3, and Ghost for season 4. Let's see. HBO has announced the Game of Thrones prequel series, Night of the Seven Kingdoms: The Hedge Knight, has cast Peter Claffey from Bad Sisters and Dexter, Soul, and Cell from Hunger Games: Songbirds and Snakes in the lead roles.
Wait. Question. So who did they cast to be the 7-foot tall, Sir Duncan?
I'm sure they're the two leads, so that's Peter Claffey from Bad Sisters, and the kid, or the young squire, is Dexter Soy, and so that kid looks like a little kid too. But
yeah, he's supposed to be little, but Sir Duncan's supposed to be 7 feet tall. Is that actor 7 feet tall?
No, but I'm sure
CGI is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is only 5'6", man.
No, I'm just saying he's literally supposed to be the grandfather of Brienne of Tarth. That's why she's so tall.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
sorry, I have too much Game of Thrones knowledge. Keep moving on.
Did you get that Hulu canceled Death and Other Details?
I'm not sad about it at all.
It didn't go really well at the end. And part of it was because they tried so hard to set up for a second season that they kind of ruined their finale.
Yeah.
But I really love Mandy Patinkin, even with the crappy accent.
Oh my God, that accent.
That
accent was crazy.
There was just, there were elements about the show that I think if they'd had a second season, maybe they could have pulled together and done right. And I just feel kind of sad that they're not going to get a chance to do it.
The moral of the story is, don't plan on a second season. Tell a great story the first season.
You.
Exactly.
Maybe leave a trap door, but don't leave hanging chats.
Exactly.
Max has announced that Noah Wiley will star and executive produce The Pit, a procedural medical drama from ER alums John Wells and R. Scott Gemmell, who most recently of NCIS LA. NBC has canceled Quantum Leap after 2 seasons.
Oh, only reason I feel bad is I know some of the writers on that show, so I feel bad about it.
As do I. Rome Flynn has left Chicago Fire 6 episodes into season 12. The Witcher season 4 has cast Charlton Copley, James Purify, and Danny Woodburn. And by the way, Liam Hemsworth has bulked up to fill in for Henry Cavill for that season. Tyler Perry's first Netflix series, Beauty in Black, has set its cast. I'm just going to talk about the leads: Taylor Polidor Williams from Snowfall and All American Homecoming, and Crystal Stewart from Perry's For Better For Worse. And speaking of Mandy Patinkin, Felicity Huffman is going to guest star in Criminal Minds Evolution Season 2 as the ex-wife of Jason Gideon, Mandy Patinkin's character from Season 1. And they killed off the character when Patinkin quit the show. And finally, Starz has given an early Season 5 renewal for Power Book 3 Raising Kanan. And that's all the news.
Nice. All right, let's move on with the shows. First up, we're going to talk about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, episodes 5 and 6. And let's start off with episode 5. This was for me, it had like two halves of it. The honeymoon of Rick and Michonne was fantastic. I loved every beat of it. And then the other half was some kind of way, let's redeem Jadis, which did not work for me at all. Because what was weird about it is they're showing flashbacks of what Jadis was doing for the last three years, trying to be like, look, she's a great person. But in current day, she's trying to kill our leads. So how is this a redemption arc? Like, it didn't make sense to me. Like,
well, she was gonna kill the dude in the past too. It's like,
I
come
know.
on.
It's
really?
Just,
That was like the biggest.
I think
the surprise was that she decided to let him live.
I know. I actually was surprised by that. But I feel like they were like, oh, we're going to make you feel sad that Jadis died. I was like, no, you did not. That did not get accomplished.
Whitney Houston, hell to the no.
No, Peter,
I'm more like, bye, Felicia.
Exactly. Peter had a different opinion. So I want to know why you, for some reason, liked Jadis. I don't understand.
No, actually, no, in the episode, I agree with you. I don't think the arc really works, but I have liked Jadis in this, the Ones Who Live in this season. I have found her more interesting than when she was on the actual Walking Dead, and it felt to me like they sort of rewrote the character a little, where it's like, okay, she's not as like goofy anymore. She's committed to the cause. I'm like, okay, all right, like she's a little more. It's like she kind of grew up. But she's still like really cold-hearted and everything.
She's definitely a villain. She's 100%.
Yeah, she's definitely the villain. And I like the actress. I think the actress has like a presence about her. And of course that bad haircut does a lot of the work.
I was going to say, I mean, bad haircut.
Right? Yeah.
What is that haircut's insane.
That haircut is insane.
What villain rolls around with a bowl cut and is like, yes, you will be afraid of me. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I mean, I'm sure it's not the first time, but I feel like the first time for me, we've seen this where you have a character that's not necessarily a villain, but you have a character that's kind of unlikable and you're like, they're okay. What's her name? Actually, the first time I remember it was on Lost. It was who actually the actress ends up being on Fear the Walking Dead. But her character, do you remember she's like blonde?
Shannon.
Yeah.
Shannon from Lost.
Yeah, she's not a very interesting character and she's kind of selfish. But then like the episode that she dies, you're like, oh, you know what? She's kind of interesting. And then in Walking Dead.
I was glad that she was.
And then in Walking Dead, Maggie's sister was always kind of but then in her last episode, I was like,
Beth. You're talking about Beth.
You're like, that kind of sucks, like. So we've seen this trick before, like, so I just,
it didn't work. It didn't work this time.
It didn't really work. But I agree with you. I love seeing them in their like honeymoon mode. I love all the ramen. I love. Oh wait, what was the raw tasteful nudes? Is that
yes?
I thought that was pretty great. I still enjoyed the episode, but I don't think the big ending for Jadis, I didn't really care. I was like, thank God.
And then it's like the thing that bothered me the most about it is I had started to like Father Gabriel, and these flashbacks made me actually dislike Father Gabriel because I was like,
well, I thought you said that the woman he was in love with is dead. So I'm like,
no, not during all the flashbacks. That flashbacks were for 3 years back. 3 years back, he was with someone else, and he was totally making out with Jadis, and I'm like, no, dude.
Okay.
And so that wasn't cool. And I did feel slightly bad for him at the very end when he shows up at their rendezvous, and we know that she's not going to show up.
Yeah.
That was slightly sad, but not really. I did appreciate the wedding proposal, Rick proposing to her, but the whole thing about the ring bothered me about Gabriel. Like, why would he not give the ring to Michonne? Like, why is he giving it to Jadis? Like, there's so many things about that I was frustrated by. But I did like Rick's proposal. It made me very happy. Fulfilled all my shippiness of it, and it was sweet. Like all of that was really cool. And Houston, you haven't spoken yet. What do you think of this one?
Well, I don't like everybody. I love their faux honeymoon. I thought it was great. I loved, the going through the license plates and him choosing out a necklace for her, and and the camp, eating noodles by the campfire or whatever. I thought all of that was great. For me, Jadis, the arc wasn't as annoying because I don't remember her so much from the story, and then I dropped with The Walking Dead. So I agree, it didn't fully work, but I appreciated what they were trying to do. Like, I got it. I was like, for me, it didn't matter so much whether or not she was fully redeemed because I don't really remember her character. So I don't think it annoyed me as much as it annoyed you guys because I wasn't as invested in hating her as much. So I thought, all right, I mean, that's the truth. You know what I mean? So I was just like, okay, they're trying to redeem her. That's fine. So it wasn't a drag on the episode as much as it seemed like it was for you guys. But I, as a shipper, also thoroughly enjoyed, for me, I thought that was the time, when they had sexy times, when all the zombies were still kind of an actual threat. I was too tense to like really kind of, it was a very tense, that whole episode. I mean, with the discussion and the zombies and the falling building parts and all of that stuff. So this was much more relaxed, and it was much more fun for me to kind of really enjoy their romance and enjoy them being back together again. And so that was kind of more fun for me. Like,
Yeah, that's cool. Well, let's move on to the finale, which is the big episode where it's kind of a make or break. I remember going into episode 6 going, how the heck are we going to do this? Because the
in one
idea
episode.
in one episode, because they're like, okay, well, we have to infiltrate the CRM and get this letter that Jadis wrote about us. It's giving all this information. So we have to infiltrate the CRM, and that's Michonne's mission. She's going to infiltrate, grab the letter, destroy it. Rick's going to get the echelon briefing, which we've heard so much about through this whole series. He's going to get this briefing, and then whatever the information he gets from the briefing, we're going to share with the civilians and show how terrible the military is. We're going to bring them down by like doing a news report. Like that was the original plan. But of course, we know that's not going to work. And the echelon briefing is so much worse than I thought. Because my original thought about the echelon briefing, I was like, oh, they've done all because we had seen they had done all these experiments and all this. I was like, oh, they're going to do some BS about how we can cure the walkers, or I thought it was going to be something on that line, that it was going to be something that they could couch in positivity to explain the negative. Like that's what I thought the echelon briefing was going to be, but it was like, nope, we're just going to kill everyone. Like the echelon briefing was like, the world's going to end in 14 years because of limited resources, so we have to kill everyone who's not us to keep all the resources for ourselves. You're on board with that, right? And I was like, what? Like, and he was like, I gave this briefing 2,500 times. And I was kind of like, and all of them agreed to this? Like, this seems insane. So, but I have to give Terry O'Quinn points because he basically monologues for like 15 minutes. It's just him talking. And I feel like if you got somebody other than Terry O'Quinn, I would have been bored. But because it's him, he has such presence and such, charisma.
Gravitas.
Yeah, his gravitas, that's the word. And all Rick has to do is just sit there and listen and just be like, uh-huh. And
What's funny because like Terry O'Quinn, I mean, we'll get to this later, but he's also in Resident Alien, but he's barely talks on Resident Alien, like because of a narrative thing. And so here I'm like, did he just like be like, okay, I have a lot to say. We'll just all do it in this show because in the other show, I'm barely going to say anything. Like, but yeah.
But yeah, it was, and then I love the callback to the first episode where he's like, I will look into your eyes and I'll know exactly what you're thinking.
Right.
And that was so awesome because he finishes his speech and he looks at Rick and Rick is looking down and he finally like looks up and the guy's like, oh crap, that dude's about to kill me. Like, that was fantastic. And he just like dives headfirst across that table. And I have to say, I did not expect that. That's the first thing that they did in the finale that I didn't see coming. Like, I had no idea that after he got the briefing, he was just going to kill this dude. Like, what? And I'm wondering, did he just decide that in the moment? Like, as he was listening to this speech, he's like, oh, this dude has to die. What do you think? What do you think? What do you guys think?
I think so.
Tom?
I think that's how it was.
Okay, so and then he did the big mistake, which I was afraid was going to come back and bite him, where he gave a speech as he was killing this guy. I was like, no speeches. You kill the dude. You do it fast. You don't do like, I am this. My wife saved me, and we are the sword that gives life, and we are this. I was like, what are you doing? Kill this man. He was giving this really long speech, like as he was slowly like stabbing him with the sword, and I was like, just kill him. But fortunately, no, because I was afraid somebody was gonna like walk in the middle of this, and I have to. There was this awesome. They even when they were doing how dark it is, they still had some really cool humor, because he's sitting there with this dead body, and I was like, "What are you gonna do with the body?" And he's like thinking, like, "What am I gonna do with this body?" And he just looks out and he sees this big crate, and I was like, "Oh, he's gonna put the body in the thing." And I have to say, they made that elevator ride super tense. That I was like, how long they were just going up 6 floors. Like, I have never been like, I was like, get out of the elevator, come on, don't look down, look up. Why are you looking down? Stop looking down. You're gonna make that guy look down, you know? And
him putting
go ahead.
him putting Terry O'Quinn in the crate is very like, to me, was very video game logic. I was like, okay, there's either a dumpster there's either gonna be like a dumpster or a crate, and then just hit the button and go boop boop and put him in the thing. Like, so yeah, I was like, oh, of course he's gonna do that. Like, actually, I was surprised the fight in the elevator and then out of the elevator, it lasted way longer than I thought. I thought Rick was just gonna take him out. I was like, whoa, this is.
But that guy was, if you look, that guy was much bigger than him. That was a much bigger dude. Than, you know, Rick is not a big guy. Right. But he cheated and had that awesome hand, and I kept saying, use the blade, use the blade. Like, I was waiting for him to just like shink and use his Assassin's Creed blade and just like right up that dude's throat. But he decided instead to pound his face into mush, which I was like, dude, that was excessive.
Do you think that like he shouldn't have left his hand behind? Because that's why.
Yes, that's the number one complaint Libby and I.
That's like one. That's because that's how what's her name realizes, right? She's like, oh, and I was like, idiot. I was like, why did you leave that there? I was like, yeah.
Well, not just that. They're in the last phase of this plan that they're doing. They're like, we're gonna blow up the whole CRM. It's gonna be a big battle. Let me leave my hand that is super useful in a fight. Let me just leave it behind for like, you know.
A clue.
Right. Like, why? Why would you do that? Like, I get that. I would get that he would want to leave it behind once everything was over. Like, that makes sense. But in the middle of the battle, why would you do that? And yeah, it was a very big. Hey,
it was a poor narrative choice. It
took
me out of the show. Even I was like, wait, what? What's happening?
Yeah.
Also,
I was very.
Speaking of, even though Michonne rips the heck out of the evidence, I was like,
why didn't burn it?
Yeah, I was like, shouldn't you burn this? I was like, technically, I guess.
No, but I think that's what she realized that. Like, she was doing that emotionally, and then she was like, oh crap, she's lit. And so then she started picking up the pieces. Like,
right, but then somebody comes to the door.
Then somebody comes in. But yes, she came to that saying, like, they were trying to show like how upset she was that she wasn't thinking. And so she was like ripping it up, and then she was like, oh crap, I can't leave all these pieces. So she starts picking up the pieces. And that's how she almost gets caught.
Right, yeah.
Right. And so I was like, all of that worked for me. And then you get to the big finale where the explosion was insane. I was like, there's no way anybody survived that explosion. Like, that explosion, they made, like, I feel like you either needed to have made that explosion a little less, and then like the gas is what killed everybody, which was plausible. You could have done that. The explosion could have been a smaller explosion, and then the gas is what killed everyone.
Right.
But instead, they made that explosion so big that it wiped out everyone there. And I was like, well, how did they survive? Because they had a little tarp and some water.
Right, and then they're like, oh,
except for the walkers.
Yeah. that was crazy.
And
I was
then they
like,
also
okay.
like, and they're like, oh, she must be alive because she has a mask. I'm like, she
But
didn't
that
have the mask on when the explosion happened. I was like,
and
oh,
what's the
bam.
mask? Yeah, and she was standing directly in the path
I
of the
know. I
fire.
was just like, what? I was like, okay, like, yeah.
That there were 2 points where you just had to be like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
You had to all right, whatever for that explosion. And then when Rick is surrounded by all those walkers, and the reason why I'll buy some of it is because most of the walkers had the helmets on, so they actually couldn't bite.
They can't bite him, right?
Right. There was only like 2 of them that didn't have masks on. So I was like, okay, I could buy Rick could hold off 2 of them with the masks off, and then the other ones with the masks on, he didn't have to really worry about because they can't bite him. Cool. But then when he like takes the grenade, I was like, okay, we're assuming he did the logic of someone diving on the grenade, but like backwards.
The opposite, right?
The opposite of that. So like, and then, but then they cut the black, and I was like, Rick, there's no way Rick's dead. Rick's not dead. And then they're like, yeah, Rick's not dead. And I was like, all right, cool. As long as he's not dead, I'm okay. They did 2 psych outs where they were trying to like psych us into believing that they were dead, and they're like, okay, they're not dead. And I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm cool with this. Let's get to the end. And they got us to the end, and they gave me the ending that I 100% was wanting for this entire series.
Yes, I know.
And we got to that end, and I was like, you know what? Don't care about anything else. I got my ending. I got my happy ending. My characters end up back at home with their children. They had the big running reunion and hugs, and he finally got to meet RJ and tell me you guys didn't water your eyes in water a little bit. When he's like, you can call me dad. And I was like, ah!
Oh, right, because he's like, are you the what?
Are you the brave man?
The brave man. He's like, but you can call me dad. I was like, oh, that's nice. I'm like, yeah.
That was a very good moment. And then they had the big pull out wide shot, the end. And that's a limited series that I feel could stay a little, like it felt like they put that bow on top. Like I was like, all right, I'm good. I don't need any more Walking Dead. This is the end. This is a nice, and people are like, but what about his reunion with Daryl? What about his reunion with, but like all the list of, I was like, I mean, sure, that would be okay, but I don't need it.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to reverse engineer an MCU Avengers thing where it's like, now we're going to bring them all back together. I'm like, you mean The Walking Dead? The original? Like, that's the show. We already did that. Like, so.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
I'm okay. I'm like, I'm slightly interested in Carol and Daryl show because Daryl by himself was a snooze fest. But
Carol's going to be on the new one?
Yeah, season 2 is Carol is looking for him.
It's Daryl Dixon calling the Book of Carol for season 2.
Right. And so adding Carol into the show is tempting to me to watch it, but we'll see.
You can be my canary in the coal mine on that one. I was kind of surprised how easy it relatively was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I was expecting Terry O'Quinn to be more of a threat because he's Terry O'Quinn.
Right.
And so, yeah, the lapses in logic were like, yeah, duh, whatever.
They were just like, we're getting to this end, and I'm like, all right, like you said, I said the same thing. It's like you just have to go with it. Like when we got to the end, they were just like, all right, here are the points, boom, 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 boom. We blew stuff up and go, and
I have a feeling that this is not going to be just a limited series because I heard the ratings have been huge.
The ratings for this are higher than Walking Dead has been in like 10 years or something crazy. It's something really high.
And we know that AMC is greedy.
But they don't have Andy or Denai under contract, so all they can do is beg and plead.
No, they can back up the Brinks truck to their house. Boop, boop.
The trucks,
We'll just keep giving you money. Tell us when to stop.
I think Denai's thing is going to be, I want to write. She's like, I want to write the whole series. If they let her write the whole season 2, I think she'll be like, all right, cool.
And the Writers Guild has a mechanism for that now, thanks to the strike.
So I mean, I think instead of offering Denai money, they just have to be like, you can show run the show. If they tell her she can show run the show, she would probably be in. But anyway, let's move on. But overall for me, because I'm a Rishoner, I was 100% thumbs up. Like that whole series just made me super happy. All right, next up we're going to talk about Invincible, and this was the last couple episodes leading to the season finale of Invincible as well, though I'm kind of annoyed that they put a break in this because it felt like we had 4 episodes and we had a long break, and then we had 4 more episodes and they're like, okay, the show's over. And I'm like, wait, what? Like it was weird to break it up that way, and I don't know why they did. But I have to say, what is that alien with the one eye called? What's his name? Kevin?
Alan the alien.
Alan the alien. I knew his name was something simple. I couldn't remember what it was. He was really just kind of great. He is a really, really cool character that I found to be super fantastic. So
I was worried that they were actually going to kill him off, in the first part of the season before the break. It looked like they were doing.
Oh yeah,
that.
like they
and I was like, don't kill Alan. Alan's fun, and he's he's terrific. Don't do that.
And who's doing the voice?
They gave us Super Alan.
Is that Seth Rogen's voice?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, because I was like, why does his voice sound so familiar? But yeah, he's great, and I like that his telepathy allows him to just talk to people in their heads, and then he's planning the jailbreak with what's the dad's name? The Invincible's dad.
Well, Omni-Man is his
Omni-Man, right.
name, but
so they're planning a jailbreak in their heads, which is cool. I really like that for the next season. And the whole kind of big move for this few episodes was that Invincible realizes that basically his superhero identity doesn't allow him to have a normal life. He can't be a college student. He can't have a girlfriend. He can't do all the stuff that he thought he'd be able to do. And also he saw what it looked like when he lost control. And I thought that was really interesting.
Well, one of his fears is becoming his father.
Right, absolutely. And so he's like, I don't need to go to college. I don't need to do this. I need to concentrate on not losing control and being able to control my powers and control myself. And so that's what though I thought what do you think the significance is that him, his mom, and his dad all had the same black eye on the exact same eye? Did you notice that?
I started noticing that. It's like, is there like a pattern here? Is there maybe a familial predilection to just get a black eye on that side? It was kind of weird.
It was very strange. I was trying to figure out what they were meaning by that. But basically, his mom getting hurt that was so rough.
That was bad.
That was really rough. And they kept banging up the baby. I was like, no, baby. Like the guy was like dropping the baby and throwing him in the... Oh my God. That was really hard.
Good thing he's a super baby, so it doesn't really hurt him. But yeah,
I mean, he cried. I was not.
They got a very effective kid to cry for that too.
I was not
very panicky,
happy.
Screaming.
I was not happy about putting that baby in danger. I don't care that he was purple. So I just it was good finale. And I like where they left him. He's at that crossroads of being a superhero. And I also like the Viltrumite woman, I can't think of her name, where she came down and told him that it was going to be his mission to conquer Earth, and if he didn't, he was going to regret it. But we all know he's not going to do that. But yeah, he just took that beating too from her, and just like, nope, not.
Well, he didn't have any choice. She was at least as strong as his father, if not more so.
Right.
And
she beat him down. Yeah, she beat him down.
He's getting the idea that he's going to need to do a lot more than just be able to punch his way out of this problem, because he can't possibly equal the power of the actual Viltrumites.
Right. And also I think he hasn't really trained, like tried to be stronger, and because when he loses his control, he's way stronger than normal. And he needs to be able to do that without losing control. Get that strength without losing control. And I think that's the key.
I have to say, I was disappointed kind of in the Angstrom Levy storyline, because they built him up so much in the beginning, at the very start. And I just expected that he would do more.
Other than get beaten to a pulp.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, he was an interesting villain. You know, he can open up portals to other realities and all of that, which is fascinating if you use it correctly. And then, but he was dead by the end of the episode, and it's just like, okay, what was all that buildup for? So I was a little disappointed with that. But overall, I mean, it you know, the thing is, this whole season really has felt like setup for stuff that they're planning on doing later on.
Right.
Like, okay, they started this storyline, but it didn't really finish. And they went down this road, but it seems to just kind of be ending without really resolving. And this was just, you know, through the season with one thing after the other, whether it's the Viltrumites or his little brother or Angstrom Levy or his dad, or Alan, you know, deliberately getting captured to save him, you know, things like that. Nothing actually reached a resolution.
Right.
And so that
Levy,
it was a frustrating season.
Levy reached a conclusion in that he got beaten to a pulp. So
well, yeah.
That was a conclusion.
But it just feels like that's it. That was it. So yeah, this was it had interesting things that they brought up throughout the season, but it feels like this whole season was devoted to setup. And that's fine if, you know, next season we get payoff, but it does, you know, they should have done more, I think, to pay things off in this season as well, because you can't just devote an entire season to, well, we're going to do this stuff later.
Right. I got you. All right. Well, let's move on. I'd say I liked it ish. Like, there were things about it I really did like. So it's not like I'm going to quit the show. But I get your point. All right, let's move on. Next up, we're going to talk X-Men 97. And Tom, why don't you lead us off with the X-Men?
Oh, geez. I'm trying to remember what episode 3 was about. It was last week's episode.
I know. I don't remember either. I just remember how lame I thought this week's episode was with the video games. The video, because I mean, come on, how many times can you put somebody in a video game? Like, I feel like they've done that storyline times.
I've heard some. I mean, I wasn't a fan of that part of the episode, but thankfully we got to the good part of the episode, which was
but it was
Storm Quest.
It was a lot of the episode. It was a lot of the episode, and I almost quit watching the episode because of that.
Did you see that it had 2 halves when you?
I did not. I did not see that, and I was just like, "This is stupid." Because I like Rogue, but I don't like the new guy. Sure. What?
Madeline Pryor. We find out that Jean Grey shows up at the X Mansion.
Oh, and right.
And there's already a Jean Grey there. So, and
my daughter. Right. That's the other episode. Yeah, that was good. That was
great because what I really like about this show is, like the original, they're loosely following real comic book story arcs and doing a good job with the source material. And I thought it was really clever for the Jean that had been with the X-Men for a while was the clone.
Right.
And the one who shows up is the real Jean.
Right. And we don't know when the switch happened, and they don't tell you.
We don't know when the switch is. I mean, they actually talk about that. They don't know when the switch is, and that Mr. Sinister is the one who engineered this.
Right.
And he's also he basically kidnaps Clone Jean and Scott's kid.
Right.
Who, if you know your X-Men lore, is going to grow up and become another X-Man.
Well, actually, I don't know who that is, so don't tell me. I don't know.
I'm not going to tell you.
Thank you.
Because I thought you might not know. But no, that was great. And yeah, it's Jean Grey. Boy, if you know your X-Men history, Jean Grey's been all over the place, and they've kind of cheapened the Dark Phoenix saga over the years by saying, oh, Jean Grey was never the Phoenix. That was blah, 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 blah. But I thought this was pretty effective, and it really throws Scott for a loop.
Yeah, he doesn't know which way is up, and he doesn't know who he needs to be loyal to. So that was actually pretty cool.
By the way,
Peter, didn't you watch it? I thought you were going to watch it.
No, I'm sorry. Actually, what happened was when I got up today, I was going to watch it, and then I realized I hadn't seen the new episode of Ghosts, and I was like, I'd rather watch Ghosts. So
hashtag priorities.
Also, you had told me you didn't like the episode, so I was like, you weren't exactly like getting me excited to watch it. So I was like, nah, all right, I'll wait.
Fine.
3 was good. 4 had 2 halves. The first part where Jubilee's trapped in the video game, that was like blah blah blah.
Super lame. Super
Some
lame.
of my friends said it was a shout out to the 90s era X-Men 8-bit video games or whatever.
I don't care. That was a bad story. It was a bad story.
The second storyline was
phenomenal.
Forge,
Yeah, that was good. Forge
with Storm teaming up with Forge to try to get back her powers until she finds out he invented the tech
that took her powers.
Took her powers away.
Yeah, that's why he was so motivated to get her powers, because she was like, "Why are you so?" And then he pulls out "But I'm in love with you too," and she's like, "Schmack."
She's like, "Oh, nah, dog. Talk to the hand."
No, that was really good. But I'm confused. At the very end, they introduce some character that eats off of Anguish. Who is that? Am I supposed to know who that is?
I barely remember that. Was that at the end of the Storm story?
Yeah, at the very end of Storm, she tries to leave. After she slaps him, she runs away on a horse, and then she ends up in a pool of blood. She ends up back at the house. She's like, "How did I end up back at the house?" And then, you don't remember this at all? Did you not finish the episode? Oh my God.
I think I finished the episode.
Apparently you didn't, because after she slaps him, she tries to leave, gets on a horse, takes off, and then she ends up back at the house, and she falls through the ceiling. And he's like, "Were you upstairs?" And she's like, "No, how did I get back here?" And then there's some weird creature with red eyes that says, "I feed off your anguish and you will feed me more." And then that's the end of the episode. So she's in some sort of trap. That's so weird that you didn't finish the episode. All right, let's move on to something that maybe more of us have seen, which is Resident Alien. Woohoo!
Yay!
And so we're going to talk probably the last 2 episodes going into the finale, which, by the way, this season has been a little uneven. Like, they've had some good episodes, and then they've had some episodes that I'm just like bored out of my mind. But the finale was fantastic. But what was the one right before, Peter? What's the episode right before the finale?
Well, because I just binged the whole show. Like, so
I know, but I'm just like that. Why? That's why it's more fresh in your mind, because it's been.
Well, the second to last episode is the big ending. Is when we realize that he finally builds the bomb and he's ready, but then Darcy
steals it,
kind of depressed and everything, and so she's like, "Okay, I can't be this great skier anymore, but I can maybe do this one thing, and I can." And so we're like, "Oh God, she's gonna try to kill herself, like with the bomb." And
I don't know if she intends to die, but she does think that there's a big.
No, she totally does, because in the finale,
she's doing all the videos.
Right, she's like, "Remember, big D, little A, apostrophe. I would like a bronze statue in my honor." Like, I mean, so no, I think she.
Yeah, but then the logic of it is she keeps the phone that she's making all these recordings on. She keeps it on her, and I'm like, if you're gonna blow up, who's gonna get the phone?
Well, I was assuming it goes to the cloud or something, I wasn't. Yeah, I mean, whatever. They were actually. It's funny. I know you had told me that you had thought that like season 3 was a little. I gotta say, as a person who just binged the whole thing, season 2 is the weakest of the. Season 2 is too many episodes. This show cannot be 16 episodes. This was 8, and I would have liked 10, but I mean, it's a pretty tight season. I mean, like, yeah, the mayor and I think they finally managed to do something with the mayor and the wife, Kate.
That was interesting. Yeah.
And you're like,
they tied them into the main story.
Yeah, it's like, they finally have something, and the sheriff, he's okay, but I was kind of happy that he gets to go. I was like, all right, fine. Like,
I did not care about that at all.
Hopefully he's not as much of a chauvinist, but I don't know. I thought this season, I like how every season they seem to be taking these big sci-fi alien tropes. And so like, this was like, it's all about, the abduction, and then it's the Greys, and like, I don't know. I liked this season, but yeah. So the episode before, yes, it's all basically setting up where we're going with the big finale.
Allison had some comments. What did you say, Allison?
Sorry.
Well, I thought that this season was really uneven. They focused, there was that whole thing with Harry, falling for the bird alien, and it was funny.
I love that. That was so funny.
It was funny for a little while, but it just kept going and going, and yeah, they didn't know where to stop it, and it was just like, okay, come on already. But yeah, so they'd sort of get lost, and really everything with the sheriff was boring me. I didn't care about him and his girlfriend, and especially in the finale when there's stuff that's really important going on, and we keep cutting away to them. That
true.
just that made me want to like,
That's
stop
true.
that.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so at least at the very end, he sees the aliens, so he's up to speed now, and now everybody is
Aware.
almost on
So
the
they
same
finally,
page.
right. That's the thing is that when I started watching the show, I'm on like season 1, and I'm saying to Libya, I was like, okay, I was like, clearly Asta is going to find out first that he's the alien. And I'm like, this is very, Buffy 101, where I was like, how long is it going to take for basically everybody in this town to know either that Harry's an alien or that there are aliens? And that's basically where we are now. So season 4, basically everybody in this, every major character, they might not know Harry is an alien, but they'll at least now know that aliens are real and stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, there's like this hierarchy of who knows what. And right now the kid is at the very top of the hierarchy because he's the only one who knows that Harry isn't Harry.
Oh, right. That Harry's really
Yes, I have no idea. I have no idea how they're going to get out of that because, like, I mean, that we know that alien eats people. So I'm like, and they're just little kids. How are they going to escape in 2 seconds? I was like, wait, I got to ask, did you guys figure? I thought it was weird when he's like, where's Bridgerton? And he's like, I do not want to talk about Bridgerton. I was like, wait, Bridgerton died? That can't be right. Like, did you guys? I actually did not. The surprise.
Bridget.
Yeah, it says Bridget.
Yeah,
the baby.
when they were there, I figured
Bridget.
there's no way they're going to just kill Bridget off screen. And the thing that got me first, actually, even before that, was when he tried to leave without Asta, because real Harry would never do that.
True.
Right.
So right from the beginning, I thought, wait a minute. And the last thing they did was split up, and
I thought the wrong thing. I thought that for some reason Bridget was impersonating Harry because we had seen Bridget do that before. So I thought that it was Bridget impersonating Harry for some reason, but I did know it wasn't Harry, but I didn't think it was that weird
praying mantis
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
Well,
so
I figured that there was they introduced that creature. They went to a lot of trouble to introduce that creature with the cold open and everything else. I figured it would be, a little fishy to have it just, stay in a cage and we forget about it when they spent all that time.
I thought the praying mantis was Kate. When Darcy sees Kate, I was like, it's actually the praying mantis. And then I was like, oh, no, I think that's really Kate and everything. Like, so then I forgot about it. And so it was a good surprise at the end.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was good. Yusin, any thoughts?
Yeah, I thought the season was uneven, and the show, what the strength for me in the first season was the people of the town and all their quirkiness and all their different stories. But as the seasons have gone along, I've really stopped caring about a lot of stuff. Like, the issue with her and her adoptive daughter, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about them anymore, you know what I mean? And the sheriff and his story, the wife and the husband, the mayor, like each time they rolled out part of the, and then Darcy and Asta fighting like on the helicopter and them like screaming at each other and all that stuff. I didn't care about that. You know what I mean?
I love that. I cared so much about. I care about their so much. Yeah.
I don't want them fighting, and
of course not. I mean, well, yeah.
But they're going to make up anyway. And I thought that actually was funny when the guy who's flying the helicopter just takes he unplugs it. Yeah. Like, that's it.
I did like that.
Over it.
That no, that was funny. I'm not saying that the stuff, some of the stuff wasn't funny. I don't, we know they're going to make up, so I don't really care about them going through the motions of fighting. Do you know what I mean? It just.
You're saying you didn't feel like it had stakes. You had no stakes.
There was no stakes involved. You know what I mean? And
there's no. You're right. There's no. Okay, maybe there's no stakes, but I always find it. Again, going back to like a Buffy type show, it's always entertaining when you basically get these two characters are fighting. And they basically get to say to each other the things that we, the audience, feel are their flaws. So to me,
that's true.
Right,
that was engaging. Yeah. It was like, oh, finally, she's saying this to Asta or whatever. Like, so you're right, though, Yusin. No, of course, I assume it'll work out or whatever. But I guess that part was.
Yeah, that makes
like
sense.
That aspect.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I mean,
really
I
like
see
the
what you're
show.
saying.
I
I
can't
see what
believe
you're
it.
saying, Peter.
What?
I do. Yeah, but for me, the final episode was so fun because it was just so much sci-fi.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
fun sci-fi. It
Oh my
was
God. I love how much Harry is always like, these goddamn good-looking hybrids.
Why are they all so hot?
They're all so hot.
I like Terry O'Quinn showing up as a robot. Like that was
so
great.
Oh
random
God,
and
as the
weird.
Terminator. That was
random
just
and
hilarious.
Weird. It's
And-
all
and-
the show is just, I like it when it's just random and weird and but it was so heavily sci-fi. But even like the praying mantis like chewing that guy's head off was very dark.
Oh yeah.
And not really Resident Alien. So it like the tone shift, but I don't care, because it was just giving me so much sci-fi. So I'm fine with it. But like, so it was like a whole different show. Like the finale, honestly,
But I liked that tone shift. I thought it was great.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I'm saying that's great. It was just all sci-fi. So I really liked it because as far as like the quirky, townsfolk people that I used to really like that aspect about the show, I didn't like it so much this season is what I'm saying. So for me, I think, it's kind of going full sci-fi at the end, even like the ring necklace that they put on Kate and like had her like, being elevated out of the ship and all of the twists and turns. I didn't, like it was, everything was the gadgets, sci-fi, all of it. So I really liked it. And I did not guess that Harry was stuck with Bridget on the ship.
How do you guys feel about, I'm assuming Joseph is going to become a series regular? Like, because he's basically going to be a good guy now, right? Basically. Because he realized that his own people were going to kill him. Right.
Well, that's not really a good guy. That's kind of selfish, but good guy means you. But
he has reason to be an ally at this point.
Right,
and
an ally versus
he is so good on with what everything he does. He's just so funny in this part. I would like to see more of him.
And Harry's like, if you do this, Asta will date you. She's like, no, he's playing hard to get.
That was really good. All right, well, let's wrap this one up. I think we're saying
I liked it. Yeah,
I think we're definitely saying thumbs up for the finale, and it's kind of shaky on the rest of the season. All right, next up, we're going to talk the rookie really quick, and I say really quick because I mean this episode was 100% about hey, Nolan and his new wife should have a baby. Like that was pretty much it.
No, actually, the part that really intrigued me, I mean, it wasn't like the most amazing episode or anything, but the moral dilemma about
I was about to say.
about
yes, I was jumping to the end. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, no, but to me that's really interesting because what's his name? Bradford. And his
I wasn't talking about that storyline. That storyline was good. The Bradford storyline was good.
What I'm saying.
That's his name, Brad. Yeah, that stuff I liked.
Tim stuff I like. Yeah, I like that stuff.
Yeah,
I was talking about the stuff I didn't like, which was the whole Nolan and the toddler baby and his wife, and I didn't care about that at all.
Yeah, and I'm saying I don't care either. Let's move on.
All right, let's talk about Tim.
What about the episode before that?
Yeah, no, I really thought that it really kind of brought up a good moral dilemma, you know what I mean? And I totally don't believe that his friend is going to drop it, you know what I mean?
And I also don't, I think that Tim is not going to drop it because Tim's the one that's sitting outside that dude's house at the end. So
yeah. So, I mean, it's a pretty serious issue, which, I want from the rookie. I mean, I don't want just light fare all the time. And so, I want to see how they resolve it and how they kind of deal with it. And, for me, I like it when they have stories that, they do stories for each of the different characters. The thing I don't like is that they keep trying to create tension between Bradford and Chen, as a couple now that they've been coupled together. So even this is causing them a problem. You know what I mean? And she like threw him out of the house and she's like, if you're not going to be honest with me, or I'm just worried about you for 36 hours. I don't know. Like she just was like henpecking him like some sort of a, whiny.
I did feel like she could have approached him a little differently on that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I thought, I don't really like that. I don't think that that's, who she is, you know what I mean?
And especially for cops who have stuff that they have to keep secret sometimes.
Yes.
But yeah.
So anyway, Yeah.
Also, I think that like I was kind of on is Pete Davidson like his what is Pete Davidson like his
brother?
stepbrother or whatever? But
Yeah.
what's his name? What's his name? David Dasmalchian? Is that Tom? Do you know? Is that how you say his name?
I don't even know who you're talking about.
That's Malshian.
Dalmatian. Yeah. He's like when he shows up, I was like, oh, it was like, and he's actually right now in a movie called Late Night with the Devil, and he's really good. He's a character actor, but like, he's basically the guy that they're thinking of killing.
Oh, right.
So he's a really good actor. So like when he showed up, I was like, this is way better than Pete Davidson. I was like, I don't think he's going to be in just one episode. I was like, no, you don't get this guy just for one episode, and he does that really well.
His speech explaining to them why they weren't going to do anything to him.
Yeah, it was really good. I was
that was good.
like, all right, like, so yeah, I think I agree with you. They want a kid, and she's freaked out about when we don't
know. We don't. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, but like that's the Tim stuff. I thought, yeah. I'm curious to see where that's going to go.
Tom, what did you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about the previous episode when Thorsten's first day back at work. I thought that was a good episode.
Oh, that's the one where they did the big test to see if he would be able to, if he was going to fold. They wanted to know if the pressure was going to get to him, and they were like, "We're going to put you through
turtle."
And Tim was putting him through his paces.
They said we had to do something until somebody literally physically hit him, and when that woman slapped him, he was like, "Does that count?" And they're like, "Yeah, that counts." that was good. And they actually this episode they had him weirdly chasing after his therapist. I was weirded out by the fact that she recorded their session where she's like, "You were totally imagining it and it wasn't me." And I was like, why is she being weird? 'Cause she's totally lying. And then you find out she recorded it.
It's necessary.
Sorry, I was on mute. I think she has to record him, and that's the point. Is that it's like, of course, she's lying, but she knows she's been recorded, right?
Right. No, I don't think she's supposed to record their session.
I think they are.
No, a lot of therapists do record sessions. So
okay. So she was very clear that she was like, there was no attraction on my part at all. It was totally in your head or whatever.
Yeah,
so I was like, we saw that.
Yeah.
So we know that's not true.
Come on, you knew that was coming from the moment he started going to therapy, like several episodes.
Yeah, I'm not sure I care about that storyline now as much.
I don't.
Yeah.
But
are we shipping him and is it Torres? I can't remember her name.
No, because we decided that was a bad idea. Because they were matched up because of the trauma, not because of them. They're friends. I like them being friends, and I don't want them to not to. Yeah, I don't know. And also at this point, they have shipped everyone. Everyone's paired up. I'm okay with people being single.
It's like ER.
I was like, I'm okay with single people.
Or Grey's Anatomy. Everybody doesn't need to date everybody.
Exactly. Please stop it. All right, let's move on. Next up, we're gonna talk Halo, the last couple episodes of Halo. Tom, you watched it, right?
Yeah, I'm still this episode, and I made sure I was not doing anything else watching the episode. It just feels choppy. Just the storytelling feels choppy to me. I don't know.
I mean, I felt like because I've played the game, I was chomping at the bit to get down to the Halo. I was like, let's get there. But I also, because of who the Master Chief is, I couldn't imagine that he would leave all those soldiers to fight in orbit and die without him backing them up. So I was like, that conundrum that they leave you on in episode 7, where he's supposed to just go straight to the Halo and ignore all the soldiers that are about to die. I was like, that's not him. That's not in his DNA. Like, he can't do it.
Is the alien outbreak from the games too? Because that felt like
the flood. Yeah, the flood. Yeah, that was really from the games? Good. Yes.
Because I felt like, what is this, Walking Dead again? Or
no, they're not. No, it's not. Okay, so
it's not a zombie thing, but it is a zombie thing. I mean, it affects people the same kind of way. It's the same.
Except that normally,
it's more like bugs. It's more like a swarm.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, the way they introduced it on the show, there were a lot of people alive. But when you get to the Halo, everybody there is dead. So when you see those bugs in like their natural form, they're not inside people. They're just little bugs that are coming at you. So that's why it was weird to get them introduced where there were people, and so they infected the people. But when they get down to the Halo, you're going to see the flood down there, and they're just going to be these weird kind of mouse-shaped bug things coming at them. That's why they're called a flood.
I just don't like the way the show is written. I mean, and I've watched every episode of both seasons, but it just feels like you couldn't afford really good storytellers, so you got like who was available, but it just feels choppy, and that just came out of nowhere. And like in episodes 207 and 208, it's like I'm looking at this thing, and now something woke it up. It's like,
well, to be fair, I knew that was coming. I was like, oh, it's the flood. Like I
for those of
immediately
us who
knew what that was.
Yeah, well, they also seem to intimate that one nurse or whatever she was, the technician, had fiddled around with the artifact when she'd been told not to, and I didn't touch the thing, and of course she's the first one who becomes infected.
She touched something. Yeah.
So and then it spreads to everybody else.
Right.
Yeah,
I think the mistake is the flood should not have been introduced that way with people to make it look like zombies. The first time you should see the flood is on Halo, where there aren't any people that are alive, and you see the flood in their natural kind of environment, and they're just these big bulk, like it's gross, but they're like these big things, and it doesn't come off as zombies. It comes off differently. And
I think they maybe should have stuck with that.
Yeah, I think that would have, because when you get down now, because they're right at the Halo, so I feel like they were like, okay, well, we want to introduce the idea of the flood before we get to the Halo, and I was like, no, you should have just waited till you got the Halo and then introduce the flood, and that would have been fine. But yeah, I get your zombie comparison. I get why, but because I was excited to see the flood, it didn't bother me as much. But I get why you were like, why are we seeing zombies? Like, I get it. But I was really happy that now we are on Halo. We are finally have arrived at what the name of the show is. It only took us 2 seasons to get here.
To quote SpongeBob, 2 seasons later.
So yeah, I'm really happy we're finally on Halo. I'm still annoyed that, what is her name? Mackie, whatever. Mackie, whatever. Yeah. I'm still annoyed that she's still alive. I'm like, why? Make her go away. Because now that we're on Halo, we don't need her. Like, genuinely, we don't need her. And I'm really glad that Cortana is back where she belongs, which is inside the Master Chief's head. Yay! I'm very happy about that. But yeah.
Well, maybe not though, because the conversation that he has throughout the episode with that AI thing inside the temple seems to indicate, and especially when he puts on the helmet at the end and we see that the visor is broken, there's clearly a fight that we didn't see. There's an altercation that was pretty devastating that we did not see, and a comment that he makes when the AI is asking about Cortana, it inspires him to say to him, maybe you should ask her, as if intimating that that's not possible. So
I don't know if I read it that way. Okay.
It seemed very much like it was snark, like maybe you should have said that before you destroyed her or something like that. I hope that's not the case, but I
don't think it is.
They left that hanging, and clearly we're going to go backtrack and see what happened
to get to that point. Yeah, because that AI is definitely part of the story of Halo. Like that's a big part of the story. So
the other AI?
Yeah. But it was frustrating because I just feel like I've missed a key scene here.
That's my complaint against the series. Both seasons is just, it feels choppy. It's like, and all of us, I can count on one hand how much I played, one of the Halo video games back when they first started. And you start off on the Halo, which is cool, but it just, I don't know. It was very satisfying though, when it looks like Bokeem Woodbine is going to leave Ackerson in the cell, and then you hear the door unlock, and it's like, keep where I can see you. It's like, dang it, I saved your family. It's like,
what I did like was the wife when she realized she'd been infected. She's
infected,
that was pretty good. mainly because I really don't like the actress playing the wife. So I was like, yay!
Oh, I actually, they actually developed her this season into a
They
character that I
did,
did
but
care about.
they
And I
developed
should have
her.
known that they, were only doing that so that we would actually feel lost when they killed her off, which is what they did.
Right.
But
I really
yeah.
wish that they had the way that they. I read the interview with Denai Guerrera about writing Michonne and how they didn't make her a stereotypical damsel in distress or fridge her or anything, and exactly what they did with Bokeem Woodbine's wife.
Yeah.
And they make her kind of shrewish and unlikable before they kill her. It's like, come on, we need more women writers on these shows writing realistic female.
Well,
characters.
it's interesting though. There's it's produced. The main producer is a woman.
Yep.
For Halo.
Yeah, but obviously
there's a lot of male executive producers on that show, including Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, let's move. I was gonna say let's move on. Let's move on. We still got a lot more shows to talk about. So I liked Halo, so I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. And Tom is sideways down. Where are you?
I'm sideways, man.
Okay.
I liked it overall. I agree with Tom that there are problems with the series, but overall I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time watching it.
Make it feel less choppy if you get a season 3.
All right, I'll come over to your house, Allison, and I'll play Halo for you so you can watch the game, and then you can understand what's going on. All right, next up we're gonna talk Ghosts, and that means Peter's gonna lead us off. Keep in mind, Peter, I've only seen the most recent episode of Ghosts because I was forced to watch it in a room at WonderCon against my will.
I thought this episode was okay. This episode was okay, but I mean, I just really liked the show. I love the cast of characters and stuff. I thought it was, I mean, the narrative, which is that like basically Trevor's brother, who's now middle-aged, comes and he basically scams the reward points. So he's like, I can stay here forever or for a year or whatever.
That was insanity. Like, I was like, I couldn't even figure out, like, even if there is a hole in the thing, I was like, there's no way that they could allow this dude to stay at their hotel for a year. Like that didn't seem like, I didn't buy that part of the story.
Right. And although I will say the storyline that I thought I wouldn't like, but I liked how it resolved, I get sort of, is I don't like what's his name's wife being on the show now, like because she died.
The guy with the arrow in his head, right? Who's
right? The guy with the arrow on his head. But like, I liked that. I like when Thor's like, "Oh yeah, I did sleep with her." It's like, you weren't supposed to sleep with her. It's like, what are you talking about? You know,
you told me to flirt with her.
But I like that. So then the Boy Scout, like, he punches Thor, and you're like, yeesh. But then Thor respects him, and Thor's like, I like that you use violence to resolve the matter. Like that, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Like, but I'm just waiting for that the wife character to get sucked off, which I still love. I can't believe that's what they call it, but I love it.
I liked how you were trying to explain it to me. Like, I was literally in the WonderCon room and I was texting Peter and I was like, explain to me what's going on in Ghost so I can watch this episode. And he was saying stuff about people being sucked off. And I was like, are you saying what I think you're like? What are you saying?
Just like going down does not mean the same thing either.
Right. I'm just saying that you needed to explain some stuff to me.
I also loved that because I guess we did not discover dinosaurs until the 1800s. So
right. Yeah.
Hamilton guy is just like, wait a minute, these are real? He's like, are unicorns real? Like, oh yeah. He's like, I knew it.
That was pretty good.
It's a fun show. I don't know. I really like the show. I mean, there's not that much to talk about, but it's like, I really like it. I think it's
I didn't see this last episode, but I've been watching every episode of every season, and I watched it right from the beginning. And I just want to chime in that it's just a light, pleasant, fun show. That it's, there's a lot of wordplay, and there's a lot of just, I don't think there's anything out there right now that's like it. So I enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's just a really silly, sweet comedy that like focuses basically on human nature, and kind of their predilections for, they take stereotypical cliched characters, that from different time periods, and they play on the cliches and they just make really good jokes about it. And they're lighthearted and sweet and it's fun. I like the show a lot. It's not a great show. It's just a sweet show.
Also, I think that just a tiny thing before we move on, I do think the show, like, sort of like Resident Alien, they have the trope of like there are ghosts and this one person can see the ghost, and they do a lot with how they set up the rules of like what a ghost can do. What if you died in a car? Well, then basically you're stuck in the car. You know, you can only sort of go maybe a foot outside of the car. Like they have a lot of little creative things that they do with the mythology of their like ghost lore. And actually, and I appreciate, even it's not a lot, but like Resident Alien, they're sort of playing off of things that like we kind of think are like stereotypes of like, oh, of course this is this. And I don't know. I appreciate that, you know.
Nice.
And it's got a great cast.
It's a great cast.
It's a great cast.
Great ensemble cast. Some of the purists will say the British version is better. I haven't seen the British version.
I haven't either, yeah.
Yeah. But a friend told me about this show and I binged the heck out of season 1. And most of season 2, I got to finish so I can catch up.
So next up, we're going to talk Star Trek Discovery. And I had the privilege of watching this at WonderCon in a big room with several hundred people. So that was kind of cool.
On a big screen, it must have been fun.
It was a lot of fun. And I liked the first episode. I liked that they set up what the season was going to be. They're like, this season, we're going to be on a quest to find the origin of the progenitors, the guys who created life in the universe, and we're going to find them and find their tech and figure out how we came to be. And we're going to stop these random rogue characters from, finding the same tech. So it's like a race. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then you have the two captains where you've got, Michael, who's the level-headed, who wasn't always level-headed, but now she's a level-headed captain. And then you've got the grizzly old captain who likes to do it the old way and, that kind of thing. Tom, go ahead. Yeah, he's awesome. I love that.
Hanoi from Battlestar.
I mean, I like him from some other stuff too, but he's the Canadian actor who's in all the Canadian things. But
that describes a lot of them, dude.
I know, right? But I like him because he plays the grizzled guy that's got a bad attitude well, but he also always almost has a good heart. So yeah. I thought that they did a really good job with him, because by the time you finish the second episode and you see where his arc is going, yeah, you're like, oh, this makes sense. Except, why are we getting rid of Saru? Like, I love Saru.
They said he's done on Discovery, the ship, not
right.
The ship.
I know, but I don't like it when they keep, because they did that with Tilly. They sent her off to teach at the academy, and we barely saw her that season. And so I don't want to barely see Saru in the last season. That's all I'm saying. So
one of the smart things they did, this season is a follow-up to the TNG episode The Chase, which introduces, ironically, Salome Jens, the British actor who plays the progenitor in that episode, was later brought as the head of the Changelings on Deep Space Nine.
I don't know if I knew that, but okay, continue.
Yep. I mean, she looks pretty much the same. But no, I thought it was a fun set of episodes. I am totally invested. I was shipping Saru and his Vulcan sweetheart
from the beginning, right? Yeah.
Last season, so I'm hoping we get to see more of the two of them together, especially she proposed to him.
I know that proposal was great. I was like,
and I think it's on a lesser extent, Book and Michael reconnecting after their time apart. It was very similar to, it was kind of like Rick and Michonne, except for Rick and Michonne, one of them knew what to do. And with Book and Michael, neither of them knows what to do.
I'm not going to compare those because I don't feel like they're on the same level. They are not my power couple. I don't ship. No, they are not on that same level. I don't ship them anywhere. Like when they looked like they were going to break up, I was like, oh, I guess they're breaking up. Okay.
Well, they brought them on board. He's got a twinkle, and I adore SMG.
So, oh yeah, Sadiq was awesome. Like, but the way he behaved last season made me think she could do better. Like, I did not like him last season.
Oh, because the betrayal?
Yeah, betrayal. Don't put it in quotes. It was like no quote betrayal. There was no quotes for that. So yeah, I feel like she could do better. She could move on. I mean, yes, there's still something there between them. I get it, but I really feel like they're damaged. That relationship is damaged, seriously. So
Well,
I'm not on board with that shit at the moment. They're gonna have to do some work to convince me.
you son, did you enjoy seeing Dadmiral again?
I did. I love Daddy Admiral. I love Dad Admiral. What Oded Fair, I think, right? Is his name?
Yeah,
Oded
yeah.
Fair.
Oded Fair. Yeah, no, I love him, and I was surprised to see him. I didn't think that they were going to use him again. So nice to bring him back. Yeah, no, I only got to see the first episode. I didn't see the second, but wow, so much action, and it was shot like a movie. It was like really, big, set pieces and big action, and it was really fun to kind of see. And it was a great, I thought, premiere episode to kind of bring me back into the show, because I didn't watch the second half of last season. I got so bored with the whole book thing and
Exactly.
and the episodes. I didn't even finish out the season, so I don't even remember what happened or know what happened.
Doesn't matter. He was annoying.
Yeah,
He's harsh.
exactly. So I thought this was a good way to start the beginning of the last season. It brought me in. It was really exciting, and and now I know this whole thing is just going to be one big long chase to the end. So it'll be fun. At least I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this one up. Thumbs up for the beginning of Discovery. I'm excited about the new season.
And I'm glad they figured out you can really have two captains on a large starship or warship, because I've been on some that had two captains.
Yeah, that was cool. I'm excited to see their dynamic, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, we're going to do Three Body Problem, episodes 3 and 4. And I just reviewed because, of course, the thing that sucks about Netflix, and when you get to a series like this, you just want to crash through it. And I'm actually further, but I had to review to make sure that we're talking about the right episodes. So episode 3 of Three Body is the one where... Okay, there's two things, because now I'm confusing 3 and 4, because I watched both of them. So basically, in episode 3, the big deal is you're watching the VR. You're watching the guy with the rich guy and then Jen. The two of them are teamed up together going through the levels. And so that's when Jen figures out what Three Body is, and she explains it. And the other guys don't, and the world gets turned into a lava pit. And then you have your AI come in and tell you have now advanced to level 3 or advanced to the next level. Level 4 was when they go through the next with the level 3 is they're like, yes, you figured out that there is a three body problem. And then when they're trying to solve it, this other guy's doing the thing with the flags, and they have the whole army being a real CPU.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
that was very cool. And then, but then that's when Jen was like, it's not about actually solving the three body; it's about saving the people.
Yeah.
Right.
And when she figures that out, they're like, okay, welcome to level 4. And just FYI for you guys, when you get invited to a secret meeting, and it turns out to be aliens, and they're like, will you join our cause? The answer is always yes, because if you say no, they murder you.
You don't piss on their invitation. That's just rude, and they have a way of dealing with rudeness that you're not going to like.
And also, you already know in a backdrop, all these scientists have shown up dead. Like, no, don't tell them no. Like,
even if you don't, because his thing was he didn't believe they were really aliens. But as you point out, all these scientists are dying. Somebody is killing them.
Right.
Don't
So even if they're not
the people
aliens,
who might be them.
Someone powerful enough to make the stars blink. Like, I mean, don't say those people, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Like,
I was
you're
like,
polite and you're not. Even if you don't want to do it in the moment when you're in front of them, you're like, yes, absolutely. And then you go run if you want to run, but you don't just say no. Like,
no, you say, I'd love to. Thanks. Can I bring some wine? I mean, just be smart about it.
Peter,
I still don't understand how Tatiana, who is like not very big, is so strong that when she pushes him against the window, it breaks the window. I was like, wait, is she a Terminator? I was like, what? I don't get that. I don't understand.
I was under the impression that the aliens were giving her some kind of powers, some kind like that was how
they'd augmented her some way because she's been raised in this cult. And they have ways of transferring some of their technology via this, whatever the same thing that was the Sorens, I think they called them, that were making the illusion of the stars blinking on and off.
And also, we know that she doesn't show up on camera. Like I feel like she got changed in some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's still effective. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I just realized I was speaking ahead.
It just skipped ahead. So easy to do.
I binged the show in like a day, so like I've seen the whole thing, but I'm just trying not. I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna tell you. At the end of episode 4, right? At the end of episode 4, what happens is so we get to in 3, the best friend dies, and so episode 4, everybody's all sad. And they're talking about it. And that's when the head of the government comes to Jen and her friend. And they're like...
I think his name was Jack, by the way. Jack Snacks.
Yes.
Yes, right. Yeah.
So after he dies, the big government guy, the main actor, the Liam actor, I forgot his name. So he comes in and he's like, look, we've been watching you. We want you to infiltrate. We want you to take the invitation for level 4, go to the meeting, and we're going to bust them. And so that's what episode 4 is, but also episode 4 is where it's called My Lord. And
that's so good.
And so that's when the guy that's the head of the group on the ship, he's having the conversation with the aliens, and he tells them about how humans lie. And he does it in a way like it's like, dude, why?
We do not understand.
He keeps trying to explain it to them,
and then we understand now. Humans cannot be trusted. My lord.
I know, that was so great because I was like, dude, what did you do?
It was the dumbest conversation though, because I mean, it was like it was like this was the serious version of Galaxy Quest, where you have aliens who don't understand the difference between fiction and actually lying. Because they don't have any they don't have any sense of that, and they don't seem to have what actually is called theory of mind, which is the understanding that because they all communicate with each other apparently psychically or
telepathically,
right? That they don't understand that someone doesn't know what they know,
right?
And which is like that's like little kids don't understand that until they're about 4 years old. And then they developed that ability, and these aliens don't have that sense. So that's why they kept going on. Why is it that Little Red Riding Hood, is staying with the wolf who's going to eat her? Why would she do that when she knows that? And she doesn't know that. And they go back and forth, and you'd think that he'd be smart enough to figure out that there's basic concepts that they lack, and not just mouth off with saying, oh yeah, humans lie. We totally do it all the time.
That was crazy. And then
I love Jonathan Pryce, but his character was an idiot.
I was like, how did he talk to these aliens for this long and only now get to that? Like, that just seems insane. And then once he realizes that he's screwed up, he's like, my lord? My lord? Just like,
hello, is this thing on?
And then you get to, that's when everything starts falling apart. And that's when they get arrested and the cops show up, and God, I forgot the woman's name who was the original person who contacted the aliens. She was like, it's all part of their plan. I was like, nope, it's part of the new plan where they don't care about you guys anymore. So that was crazy. That was so good.
Because this, I just want to make sure I'm not ruining. Is this the same episode where Augie basically has to turn on the machines and she's afraid about the countdown?
That happens in 3. That was 3.
No,
she turns in 3. She turns it on, and then
no, because the aliens.
There's 2 times she does it, Peter. She does it twice. One time she turns it back on, and then the countdown comes right back on, and she freaks out. The second time she does it is in episode 5, which we haven't gotten to yet.
Okay, that's what it is. All right, yeah. But yeah, I really like this show so much. I mean, no spoilers, but yeah, I really hope this gets a second season. Like, so I think the numbers have been solid, right?
Yeah, it's been good. I think you're in good shape to get another season. I think we're good.
It's not that I think the show's perfect or anything, but I don't know, as a person who watched Game of Thrones really more for the aesthetics, because it was just like, it was such a beautiful show, you know, it's so well made, so expensive and everything. It always kind of, I get a little annoyed by shows where everybody is just basically a jerk all the time, or like everyone's trying to backstab. So I kind of like that the guys who made that are now working on a show where in general, most of the people are trying to do what they think is the right thing. And they're not really trying to backstab or anything. Doesn't mean they don't make terrible mistakes and stuff. And
And it starts off with a group of friends too. It starts off with like a group
it's also just it's a warmer show. There's nice humor on the show. Like, I mean, I don't know. And we know that the book is finished. So that means these guys can't mess up the ending, right? Because in theory,
I mean, they could.
They have changed a lot about the story, though,
right?
Because the books are very, very cerebral and more about ideas than characters.
The show is cerebral.
They've changed the focus for that.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
but if you read the book, if you read the
apparently
books,
lots of math.
Really?
Yes. When I was reading the book, I was like, oh my God, like there was so many numbers.
They out-scienced you, isn't that what you said?
I was like, I am a scientist, and I was like, dude, it's too much.
I really like the show, and I mean, yeah, I guess episode 5 is incredible. I guess we'll have to talk about that next time.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about that because that just left me with my jaw hanging open.
Well, let's move on.
Really
let's
insane.
move on. Let's move on. All right, so we have one more show to talk about before we wrap this up, which is Shogun, and we're going to talk about episodes 5 and 6 of Shogun. And I don't remember what happened in 5 and 6 of Shogun because the latest episode was 7, I believe. So that one we can't talk about. So
5 is the one that picks up where the son and the son that basically decides to declare war.
Oh, he blows everybody up with the cannons?
Yeah.
Oh,
We talked about that, didn't we?
We did talk about that one.
yeah, I think we did.
No, but it's after that. It's the aftermath.
It picks up after.
Of the aftermath.
The aftermath of him blowing everybody up.
Where they're discussing just how stupid that was.
Yes, because he's an idiot. But when does the avalanche happen? Was that in 5?
That wasn't an earthquake.
Oh, sorry.
Well, but it was followed by that huge mudslide that took out all the
right.
soldiers.
So that was 5, I believe. Right? If I'm
Are we doing 5 and 6 or?
Yes, 5 and 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the earthquake was 5.
Yeah. I'm reading from IMDb. Blackthorn and Mariko struggle to contain the secret that could get them both killed. Yabashiki searches for the spy who's betrayed his intentions to Lord Tornaga. Basically, her husband shows up. Her presumed dead husband shows up, and he's an a-hole.
Well, we already knew that before he was presumed dead, but
but
their big secret is that they slept together.
Yes,
and the husband,
she tried to play it off that that must have been a great courtesan.
Yeah, but the husband picks up on it very quickly, and I was like, "Ooh, he's actually, even though he's a jerk, he can tell." And so then,
stupid.
Yeah, he's not stupid. And then they had that whole drunken night where he was shooting off arrows at her and made her confess the history of her family and the shame of her family. So that was really, I mean, that was very uncomfortable. That's the
because the shame was, just so that we're clear, I'm clear on this. Shame was that he tried to overthrow the emperor or the shogun or whatever.
Right.
But
the Taiko, actually, the Taiko.
The Taiko, but because he was corrupt, though, right?
Yes.
He was trying. Her father was trying to overthrow a corrupt person, but he failed. So then his entire family got put to death except for her because she was married to somebody else. She was now considered in someone else's family.
The moral of the story is, if you shoot for the king, don't miss.
Thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Actually, he did manage to kill him, but he didn't kill all the underlings who were still on the guy's side. So yeah. That's
Right.
a little detail that you try not to forget.
Right. So it was all of that was really good because it was so strange about that conversation is when she tells the story, you can tell that the husband like has this love-hate relationship with his wife. Like he kind of hates her,
Yeah.
but he can't let her go because
Kind of.
that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
he wants her to love him.
He
And
wants her to love him and she won't.
He
But
doesn't, so that's why he hates her.
Because he's treated her like crap all these years. And
no,
Lord
but
knows
he
the
no, but
fact
he
that
treats her like crap because she does. He assumed that she would warm up to him and fall in eventually, and she never did. So that's why he treats her like crap because he hates her because she won't
but the
warm up
thing
to him. But
is,
it's like
See,
a whole thing.
the thing
she
that
can-
I got, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go, Tom.
Go ahead, Allison.
No, the thing that I got was that he'd been abusive to her from like the night of their marriage.
Thank you.
And there was never a moment where he was good to her. So why would she
I'm
like
not
him? Why would
disagreeing, but I'm just
she
saying
care for him? So I
his
did
point
read
of view is
I
always
did read
that.
in interviews that what they were trying to get at was that he felt rejected and that he really does love her on some level.
Weird level. Yes.
But I'm thinking, at the time that I read that, I thought, well, you didn't really hit that target because I only got that everything he did was because he hated her and it was not to protect her that he kept her alive, but to punish her.
Part of it was that, but I do feel like, especially when he goes to the Shogun, I want to say, nope, is that this episode? Nope, sorry, I'm an episode ahead. But I do feel like the way he behaves is not as a man who hates her. He genuinely does love her. He just sucks at
in a
showing it.
twisted way. He's
Very
always
he's
always
conflicted.
lorded it over her that your family is a bunch of traitors, so you're lucky that I was willing to take. It's like, dude, that's not a great way to endear your wife. I mean, he abused her psychologically as well as phically. So
yeah, he beats on her too. So yeah, it's just like it's just all crazy.
And he's horrible to their kid too. And what did the kid do? I mean, he's absolutely
he's a terrible husband. Yes,
he's an abuser. He basically is just that.
I don't have any sympathy for him, but I do believe he does love her in his way. So I agree.
In his twisted, effed up way.
Yes, absolutely. All those things are true.
I only feel that because I've seen the more recent episode, and I'm not going to get into it, but it was like, well, at the time that even that happened, I was like, oh, news to me.
Well, let's talk about Toranaga. Let's move on to Toranaga.
Well, in episode 6, Toranaga calls the husband in and basically reads him the riot act, said, "You have shamed me because of because
your behavior."
I love the dude who plays Toranaga, and I gotta look up his name so I don't butcher it. But man, I hope he becomes a bigger star after this because
he's really good.
He's huge in Japan.
Amazing. And I want him to be huge everywhere though.
He's great.
He's done all these character roles but he's number one on the call sheet and it's his show and he is in command. And man, when he calls that husband in and basically says, "You have shamed me," and it's like, loved it.
He was great. And I liked his disdain for his son because his son's an idiot. And he's just like, dude, how did I have a kid that's this dumb? Like, he's just like really confounded by that. And I just wish that, because he's in a really, like, after the avalanche or earthquake / avalanche happens and he loses thousands of his men, I really wish that, he's always strategizing and he doesn't let anybody know in on his strategy. But I feel like he's really got his back against the wall right now, and he needs to figure out a better strategy or a strategy, because right now I'm not sure he has one. So So anyway, I don't want to get too big into it because I feel like we're going to bleed into the next episode, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I get the impression that there's just sort of circles within circles with Toranaga. It's when he'll present, okay, this is the plan, this is what we're going to do, but while that's what his underlings know. he's already working like 10 steps
Yeah,
ahead.
absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
contingencies out of contingencies, because he's been raised in this environment where everyone around him is willing to sell the next person out to get
Potential,
power.
potential enemy.
It's a
right.
very dangerous period of history, and you know, in this particular place and time. And so he has to strategize like that just to stay alive. So I have this feeling that, you know, whatever happens, even something as terrible as losing all those men, he's already figured out something else to do.
All right. Well, I'd like to wrap this up. I think we're saying thumbs up for Shogun. If you're not watching it, you should definitely be watching. You should be watching this show.
So good.
All
Are
right.
you, Peter?
No, he's not. I've yelled at him about it.
No,
Weeks.
I deliberately muted you guys this whole time, and I just took a chance just now. I was like, because I do want to watch it, so that's why I was like, I don't want to hear about what's going on in the show. So
You should watch it.
but I heard it's great.
Yeah. All right. If you guys have any questions or comments, you can leave them at tvcampfire@gmail.com. Listen to us on Sci-Fi Radio, 6 Degrees of Geek, YouTube, and iTunes. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.